Welcome to the Weekly Five. And in this week, I want to talk about the new lawsuit with TEA over the STAAR test. In particular, the parents have sued TEA because the STAAR test in grades 3 through 5 is too long. Is that legislation was in place that said that the 85% of the kids needed to be able to complete the test within 2 hours, and in reality, it took 85% of the kids over 2 hours to be able to complete the test. And TEA knew this was going to happen, but they went on with it anyway. And this follows up the idea that many other parents are continuing to opt out of the test. Now, in Texas, it's not as big as in other areas. We had about 2,000 kids or parents of kids opt out of the test. You go to places like New York, and you have hundreds of thousands of parents choose to opt out of the test. And so there's some concerns. And when I talk to parents, what I hear most often is concerns with the pressure it puts on their kids. And for many kids, that's a serious issue. And the other part is that the STAAR test takes away from what they would call legitimate learning, is that we spend all of our time trying to worry about this test and worrying about bubbling in answers instead of worrying about true education in the parts of some parents. And so that's driving a lot of parents away from public education. But a recent survey also showed that around 44% of parents thought that the tests were fair versus 38% not fair. And they also said that overall, 44% said it created a positive impact on our schools, whereas only 30% said it was a negative impact on the schools. And when you look at whether or not the amount of testing is where it needs to be, we look at, probably overall, there's a kind of an overall feeling that the kids are taking too many tests. But it's kind of mixed in that a lot of them say too many tests, some say the right amount, and then there's a small percentage of individuals that say there's too few tests being taken. From my perspective, is that our accountability drives methods of instruction. When our legislator puts together how they're going to hold us accountable and put the rules in place for what's going to happen if we don't meet certain standards, it's going to create the evolution within our schools to be able to find ways to be able to meet those standards. And so in many ways, the transfer comes from bubbling in. Transferring from that is that you need to be able to learn how to do that early on and see these decontextualized questions. They're in multiple choice format is how we're going to do things in many ways. So you're going to have the benchmarks and the curriculum-based assessments and other less interesting things that take place. And I know that they have tried to legislate limiting the number of benchmarks, but you're going to find one way or another to call it that, or to do that without calling it that, simply because that's something that's going to help you understand where the students are. And so if we want to put together an accountability system that drives more hands-on or authentic instruction, we're going to have to change the way we measure our schools. And frankly, from my perspective, it means that you're going to have to push it from state looking at everything and finding the easy way to do it, which is objective tests, to pushing it down to the local level and having them work with things such as e-portfolios and things like that. I want to thank Tommy Riggs and Ginger Pippin for their comments over the past week. And at UT Tyler, we want to be a part of whatever you have going on. Let us know.